everybody! Good afternoon, good day, good morning, wherever it is, whatever time of day it is with you. Hello, hello. Okay, so I wanted to start and do a different type of video for me, actually, which reflects kind of the other side of what I do within detailing, which is training. So a lot of you will know because you've been to me for training, but probably the majority of you won't know that I also do a lot of detailing training, both here at TI22 and also I'm part of Rupes' UK training team. So we go to places like the Ultimate Finish and we have seminars and we go everywhere and anywhere. If you want a seminar, get in touch with Rupes UK and we will come and do a seminar with you. So and what we do in those seminars is a massive range of things. So we do all sorts of stuff from very basics, hands-on, right up to sanding and getting guys who've done this for a long, long time, maybe showing them some new things or different ways of doing things. So what I want to do, in this raft of videos is share those things with you. So lots of stuff coming up with those. So what I want to share in this video is just the common stuff. So every time I go and do a course and we do a bit of a theory, and then we come to a setting like this with a bonnet, with a machine polisher, and guys pick up machines, I can pretty much list 4 or 5 things immediately that we can go through that will help them. Now lots of you guys out there will have polishers, will be polishing, and like I always say on the courses, you're not doing it wrong. If you're getting a car shiny and you're getting rid of defects that you want to get rid of, you're doing a great job. Also, we see lots of things on the internet about how, lots of guys asking for advice. And what I want to try and do is really kick you up the effectiveness of your DA polishing specifically here. And yeah, just help you through some of the things that we see on those courses. So let's not talk too much and take ages about it. So the frame of this video is just DA polishing. So if you don't know what I mean by that, have a little look around, have a look at the main movement types of polishers. Some are DAs, which means dual action, which is the type we recommend for everybody really, right up from a first time beginner to a seasoned pro. You can also have rotary machines, you can have forced rotation machines, and Rupes now have a forced movement system as well. So lots of things. A lot of what I say is going to be framed in the Rupes world. I don't work for Rupes. I run TI22, I own TI22, that's what I do, I polish cars for myself. But I genuinely believe Rupes are at the forefront, really at the forefront of this stuff. And they're the only guys really thinking about it and really training people to do it. So a lot of the stuff I say will be Rupes centric because none of the other polish manufacturers are saying this stuff. This is how you should use our stuff. And I am well versed in this stuff because this is what I train in. So the first thing I'm going to say is, the very, very first thing I'm going to say is when we are polishing with this machine polisher, what we are doing is basically managing speed of our arms and the machine and a few other bits and pieces, but we're managing speed and pressure all the time. There is a bit of a learning curve with the machine to get right up to sort of black belt levels, and the reason that there is that learning curve is because all the time we're managing speed and pressure. So it's important to know what's going on at the polishing head. The first tip, the first thing I would say that's mandatory, and I've been polishing now for 11 years of the machine polishing cars. First thing I do when I get a new machine polisher is put a mark on the backing plate. I'm sure you can probably see it there. I'll zoom right in, but you can see a nice big fat stripe on the backing plate. You can do it with a bit of tape, you can mark the pad, you can do whatever you want. But without that, you can't see what is going on the pad. So if I'm polishing here and I get it wrong, I can't tell whether it's spinning or not, or what I'm doing, or whether my angle's wrong. A lot of the time we're just managing that angle and we're managing the speed and pressure. So what we're trying to look for is a nice rotation once or twice a set. And I'll try and keep this video a bit more basic. So really, the number one tip is put that stripe there on your polisher, monitor that, and you want to keep that backing plate spinning kind of twice a second, that kind of speed. If that's spinning like that, you're doing correction work. If it's staying in one spot, then your angle probably needs to be adjusted, or your speed or your pressure needs to be adjusted so that it starts spinning again. If you just see the mark vibrating like that in one place, you're not really doing a lot of polishing, and you could be doing a lot more in that time. And of course, if you don't know that, then you might think, oh, I'm not removing defects. What do I need to do? Oh, I need to go more aggressive with my pad and polish. And we see that all the time, people getting caught into a loop then, where they've gone to a more aggressive pad and polish, but really all they need to do was adjust the angle. Obviously, the whole time you want the surface you're polishing and your pad to be parallel, to be flat. Not on an angle like that, you need them to be flat. And when you're on a curved surface, that means moving the polisher to stay perpendicular to that surface all the time. Not perpendicular, parallel. Perpendicular means right angles. The second tip we're going to do is too many options. When you're starting out, especially with this, keep it simple. I see a lot of time on the internet forums and that kind of thing, someone's saying, oh, I've got an issue with my machine polishing, and someone's saying, try this compound, try that compound, try this pad, try that pad, and it's massively bewildering. We get lots of people that come in and say, I've got 83 pads and 10 polishes and I don't know what to do. Pick one. Obviously, I'm going to say, you know, my staple thing is the Rupes yellow, what we call the yellow-yellow combination, the yellow polish, the yellow pad. That is a great base to start from. Have that as your go-to, your initial test, see what happens. Just have one that you go to, don't have 10. Have one light cut, one medium cut, one heavy cut. Start with a base, start with a reference, and then you know where you are. When you get more advanced and you've done hundreds of cars, you'll have a bit more feeling for it, but initially, don't get into it too much. Okay, the third tip I'm going to say is really watch your polishing area. So the Rupes recommendation is, you know, the polish area is related to your pad size. So 6 to 8 times the pad area size is the area you should be polishing. So with a pad size this size on this 15, I shouldn't be polishing half of bonnet. Equally, I shouldn't be polishing something 6 inches square. So keep that in mind, that recommendation, but also stick to it. Pick a landmark, pick a body line, put a bit of tape down, something like that, so you make sure you're only polishing that area during that set. What we see a lot of the time is people going overlapping an inch or two, overlapping an inch or two, and originally they started by a 12 inch area, and then that's gone right up to a 2 foot square area. Not doing you any favours, so really manage that polishing area. And the amount of polish, I nearly put a point down which said one of the biggest things we see is people using too much polish. And I wanted to kind of put that into this point because the amount of polish is related to the polishing area. So again, the Rupes recommendation is an area 6 to 8 times the size of the pad, and it's 2 dots of polish once the pad is primed. You can adjust that slightly, so if you're going to go for a bigger area, slightly more polish, or a slightly smaller area, slightly less polish, but that's the kind of ratio, not a big swirl of polish, not a big X of it, nothing like that. 2 blobs is fine with the Rupes polishes. Different polishes need slightly more, but just the biggest thing we see is people using too much. You get sling, then you get a very oily surface that you can't really see what's happened, and then of course you get a lot of residue coming in, and then cleaning becomes really crazy then. So less polish generally. The fourth point I want to say is to watch your buffer trails. So what I'll do actually is I'll do a very quick cycle here for you to see. So I'm just going to very quickly do a quick polishing cycle, which might well be shorter than a lot of you guys are used to seeing, but this is kind of the Rupes recommended cycle. So we're just on to speed 4. We're coming smart. So those are the trails we like to see. And then what I'll do over here is I'll just pull that up on the side there like that, over exaggerate it. And then what I'll do actually is I'll grab the camera and pull you in so you can see those trails. And what you can see there is these trails here, these nice long ones, the pad is full diameter here, which is what we want, the whole pad in contact all the time. Those ones where I exaggerated at the end here were really thin. So you can see here the really thin trails, which is not what we want. That shows you that the whole diameter of the pad wasn't in contact with the paint at that time. So what we want is basically the trails that are the same diameter as the pad. And if you always keep an eye on those trails, your machine polishing will really leap on quite a lot. Let me just put you back there, hopefully in roughly the same area we were in a minute ago. There we go. Hello. I'm back. So yeah, really watch those trails because they tell you everything about what's happening on the surface of the paintwork. And the final one I just wanted to talk about was time management really, and doing too much. Normally, or quite often what happens is we'll get onto a bonnet like this, we'll do some polishing, and the guys will say, what about that tiny scratch? What about that tiny thing there, you know? When you've done a whole car, and when you've got used to correction, then we can talk more about heavy correction, different scratches. But it's very common that first of all, we'll start to get into the real minute stuff. Get used to swirl correction, get used to different panels, get used to different contours, then start chasing the really deep stuff. And tied into that, is slightly starting to touch into more advanced stuff, but don't be afraid of microfiber. So, you know, we had a yellow pad there, a yellow polish, which are a very light polishing combination, really. Don't be afraid to get into the deeper ones. A lot of people are okay with using the green pads or the blue pads, but maybe are a bit scared of microfiber or the wool pads. I would definitely encourage you to get into them and try them. Get a scrap bonnet, try those things out. So, those are my 5 tips, just 5 things that I see all the time with guys when they come in. So the first one is mark your backing plate, and that lets you know where you are with your speed and pressure. Don't get tied down in too many options, keep it simple. Have 1 or 2 different polishes you use, maybe a heavier cut and a lighter cut, and 1 or 2 different pads. Watch your polishing area is number 3. The polishing area and the amount of polish are all related. So remember, 6 to 8 times that pad area and 2 to 3 drops of polish is all you need. You don't need big drops, no big circles of it, less polish. 4th tip is watch your buffer trails, because the whole time we want to keep that pad flat to the panel. If it's up on one edge or we've got more pressure at one side than the other side, you'll be doing more correction in some areas than others, and you'll be getting a patchy level of correction. That is something you might well be doing, especially as you come down a curve. So keep an eye out for that one. And finally, time management. So be aware of what you can do. Do a bonnet, work out what that area is and multiply it by the whole car. Number of times I hear people, oh, I set aside the whole weekend, I didn't finish the car, I didn't do what I wanted to do. Always keep an eye on that time. Don't try and get carried away with the tiny scratches. Sure, mark those for later. If you can get into them later on, brilliant. But at least you've got the whole car shining. You will see more as you go around the whole car. And finally, don't be afraid to move to a heavier cut. So when you do want to chase out those heavier marks, Don't just sit there and doing set after set after set with the light cut. Don't be afraid to step it up, especially to microfiber. That's what it's there for. So use it. There's lots of videos about it. I'll be doing some more videos on some heavier cutting and some more advanced stuff. Don't be afraid to get into those. So guys, I hope you've really enjoyed this. If you're not subscribing to the channel already, please do. There's going to be many more of the teaching stuff. If you want to get in touch about a course, or you want to come down and try some machines, or have a go on our trusty bonnet here, then by all means get in touch. Ask some questions. I'm here to help. So anything we can do to get you guys polishing better, get in touch and let me know. Other than that, thanks very much for watching. Ta-da!